Okay, let's get started. Going over some charts here. So we got Bitcoin up first. Really did not do much this month. So this is its normal monthly range. It's about $7,000, and it did not move like at all. I think if we look at the monthly, it moved about $3,000, and it just basically moved up a little bit and moved back. So did not do much this month at all. If we're looking ahead to see where it might go to and what it's doing, it's obviously bullish. It's above this moving average. The dollar index is weak and has been declining, so that will push all the cryptocurrencies up based on that alone, so that's a good sign. So if you're looking to buy Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency, that's probably the right direction. I do think they are going to continue heading up, but especially Bitcoin. I don't really know where a good buying position would be. If we look at a higher time frame here, you can see that this is a huge area of rejection, and which is probably why it never broke it this month, because this is a very significant area between about 32,000 and, let me move this up here, between about 30,000 and 32,000 is a massive rejection area. You can see it hasn't been higher than this. It hasn't closed higher than this in over a year, since May 2022. So it's been a long time since Bitcoin was above 32K. So that being said, we're going to need to figure out where to buy it, because clearly it doesn't want to go up yet. It did have this nice bullish leg here, but since then has not moved much at the end of June. July it basically did nothing. If we look in the monthly here, yeah, it's actually a pretty good sign. So last month was very bullish, and this month pulled back a little bit, but not much. Didn't really do much at all, so that makes me pretty hopeful. So I'm going to look for a buy position on Bitcoin, and I'm going to mark this here, because this is acting as a supply area for bulls already. It may just not be enough, because you can also see that it's wicking up here, so very little movement in between these zones, and because it's wicking in this area, it's almost flat, so it doesn't know if it wants to go up or down yet. So I would wait, but as soon as price presents itself, I would look for a buying position. So if you look here, this is kind of a significant area here. Once price breaks above this area, you can see it's created a lower low here. If we put this on a 4-hour, you can see that it's respecting this area as of right now on the 4-hour, but then it's respecting this upper area here, which is actually the bottom of these. It works out perfectly. So once price broke this resistance area, now it's acting as resistance the other direction. I guess this would be a support, because we're looking at buy. So this was a support area, price broke down, now it's testing it. So it's going to have to break above this area, above 29,700, before we look for buys. I would like to see it cross over some moving averages, so it would obviously have to cross over this 1 hour 200 period moving average, step one for sure. And then I would look for basic price action, so big bull candles, a bullish engulfing candle. None of these wicks. You cannot have these wicks. This is not this is not a good enough price action to enter buys. And so there's this area, then there is this area that price would have to break, and then obviously this huge area here. But we'll delete this for now, so we're not worried about that one. We'll move this over, because this is just the monthly range. So what we're looking at now is price to break these two areas, and then as long as it continues to present bullish momentum, so like example is big bull candles like we talked about, the opposite of this daily candle here obviously, then if it starts crossing over these moving averages, so I'm actually going to put an alert, So when Bitcoin crosses over this moving average here, then I might start looking for buys. So not until then, but perhaps soon. I mean, it basically did nothing all month, but at the same time, it didn't really go down much. So if you want to pull out a fib for this little leg here, your retracement zone is right here. So price may come down. I mean, if you wanted to go like this, this would kind of function right around this 50% area. So 50% retracement of this leg, which, I mean, it didn't retrace at all. Basically mid-June it just shot up and never came down. So it's slowly trickling down towards this area. So this would be a good buy area. And then, yeah, we'll either wait for price to hit this area, or we will wait for it to start to crack these two areas upwards and cross over these moving averages, the 4-hour moving average and the 1-hour moving average. And then definitely we'll be looking to enter long positions and target the next major area, because this this $32,000 zone has been huge resistance wise, but as soon as it breaks that, I mean, the next resistance would possibly be the bottom of these candles, which again would be at about 37,000, or the top of this leg, which would be about 46,000. So between 37,000 and 46 is probably the next move once it starts moving upwards, and it'll move quickly. Bitcoin moves real quick once it starts moving, so you want to be on top of those buy positions when the time is right. So we will watch it crossing over those moving averages and the bulls presenting themselves once they break these areas. So that's Bitcoin. Moving on, we got Ethereum. I'm just going to delete all these quick here. I haven't looked at these charts in a long time. So Ethereum's a little bit different. This is a little bit whack of some charting here, so see if we can clean this up a bit. I like nice price action. I like nice candles. I don't like confusing choppy charts. So it's above, it is still bullish. It's above this moving average. It's been pretty flat for a while though, but it is finding support here. So as of, you know, end of June, hasn't broken below this area, this 1850 area. So, but again, similar to Bitcoin, there's huge resistance up here. So but immediate trade would be something like this. Once price comes back into this area and shows a little bit of rejection, maybe it tests this moving average. The moving average is a little bit low, but let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's still like, if you look at it on a 4-hour, there's just not enough bullish momentum. So honestly, I would just wait. As much as you might be able to get away with a buy now, I don't think it'd be worth it. I think it would go against you for a while. Price alone is pretty flat, so again, you'll be sitting in a position for a long time. Just having carrying costs, it's not really worth it. So I would wait, but I do think this is still going to go up. I think with the dollar going down, the US dollar going down, it's going to push these all up. And again, once the momentum comes in, they'll fly, but it's just going to take a little bit of time. We have to wait, just like Bitcoin. We have to wait for the bullish momentum to come in. We got to wait for all these moving averages to cross back over. We got to wait for a price to break significant areas. So like this $1,900 level, obviously, is huge. Anywhere where there's a ton of wicks, those are. And if it's a whole number, a round number like 1,900, and there's a bunch of wicks, that's a clear sign of an area that it has to break, and it has to break it significantly. So like no wicks going through it. It's got to be a full candle going through that zone. So we will wait on Ethereum, but it is definitely bullish. Litecoin here, I don't know what all these are. Hold on, let me delete all these. My object tree. It's got a bunch of, I don't know what any of these are, but we will delete them all. Perfect. Okay, yeah, so Litecoin is testing this moving average. is still technically bullish. I don't really know. I like this area here. It's quite a bit of ways though. So its main support zone is about $77. So it's about $24 away. Sorry, $14 away. And so there's this main area that we would look for buys, obviously if it gets down to there, but again, it's the same as the other pairs. I think I would just wait for bullish momentum to come in, because you know its price is below. This is the 4-hour moving average, price is below, so the bulls just aren't there. And again, it's making lower lows. You got this very bearish daily candle, and now price seems to be, it broke this resistance here, and now it's acting as, and now it's resisting the upside. You can see price held above, broke below, and now is retesting that and staying below that. So it's not a good sign for bulls, so you have to just wait. I would wait for at least price to break above this area, and then look for a long position targeting either this one. These are all your supply zones, so these are what we want to target. But again, the bulls have to be there, so they're not there yet. So we just have to wait, and then we'll target this zone and then this zone, and it'll move pretty quick. Like you can see this massive candle. I mean, it moved almost $28 in a day once it started to move. So it's worth waiting. You just wait for the right time. You wait for all the bulls to come back into the market. You wait for price to cross over the moving averages, and then you take your position. So that's Litecoin. Moving on to Monero. I'm probably just going to do about 10 tonight, but so here's Monero. Bullish as well, but it's having a tough time breaking these higher levels. If we just create a zone up here, I mean anything above about 169 bucks, it doesn't really want to stay on the daily. So, but now you have its bottom range as well. So it's mostly just ranging. It is bullish, but it's trickling down. It's not making new highs. So similar to all the other pairs, you just got to wait for the momentum to come in, and then take your positions after that. It's really all you can do. So it does seem to be respecting this $160 zone. So but this was a huge bullish move that it made. So again, it could be the same as Bitcoin. It just needs to pull back a bit, to like this 152 level, this 50% fib zone, and then maybe it'll come this far down, maybe it won't. But as far as a full retracement of this leg, that would be the ideal price, would be to come down to this area. So either it gets stuck here or it gets stuck here, or it just decides to start breaking upwards. So I mean, we would need it to break this area for sure, because this is significant resistance. And then I would target some upper areas. I would probably target up here. Yeah, something like up here. So once it breaks this 168 zone, and odds are, as soon as price, if you got a bunch of bullish momentum coming into this zone, and you got a full candle that closes above 169, then I mean, you're probably good to go to 186, but that could be a while. So we gotta wait for this one as well. So a lot of it's just waiting. It's a big part of trading, is just waiting it out. Okay, so Dash now. Let's see what we're working with. So Dash is actually very bearish. So unlike the other cryptocurrencies we talked about, this one's bearish, whereas the other ones were super bullish. So based on that alone, I'm going to look for shorting positions on this. I got to find out where the resistance zones are. Look at all these old lines I drew a long time ago. So your main target area is right there. So it's really not that far away. I would look for, if price came back up to this area, so about 33 bucks, and rejected, then I would target this low in this zone. I would probably go for, this is a really, because this is the weekly, I would just go for the daily here, this kind of daily area, the bottom of this. So this would be your trade on Dash. I think it's an excellent trade. Once price gets back up to here and starts rejecting, you can see it rejected this zone, and then you had a big bearish candle, bearish engulfing candle out of this zone. The next day, retested the zone again, failed, so does not like this zone. So if price comes up here, it's a very good short. You can get a 3 or 4R, and then I would target this $28 level, the bottom of this this recent low, I guess you could call it. So that's what I would target for Dash, and then I would just wait for, you know, maybe this tests this moving average. You could even see now on the 4 hour, it's proving a lot of rejection. So you can see price came down here, came up, finally broke this area, this 4 hour area. This wick went through it, came back. Now it's testing this area again. It looks to be rejecting. So honestly, if you wanted to, you could probably go like this, and then I would just look at getting in. If you took this position now, and then even if price went against you, you could sell more up here if it came to this zone, but there's a good chance it doesn't even make it to this upper zone here. So I mean, you could just sell it now, and then that would be, you know, this is your trade. You get a 10R right here, selling Dash. Yeah, I think that's actually a really good trade, to be honest. This 4 hour candle is going to close in half hour, so you can see that. And if you wanted to wait for price to cross over these lower time frame moving averages, you could, if you just wanted a little bit more confirmation. But I would say this is a good trade now, and that's if you were to set a stop loss, this is what it would look like. You would put your stop just above this zone kind of thing, above all these wicked out candles, and then that's an excellent stop. And if you don't want to trade with the stop, which I usually don't, I just go with the flow and I hedge if I need to. But you could, if you're not using a stop, then yeah, you could sell now and sell more up here. If it comes up to, you know, above 33.20, then sell more. So that's Dash. Okay, so Cardano, I don't know what these lines were that I drew a long time ago. So you got this bottom area here. Cardano is also bearish. It's below this moving average, and it's continuing to make lower lows. So, however, it is at a significant area of resistance here, but I would still look to short it. I would just find a good area. So honestly, this is pretty much similar to Dash that we just looked at. I think this is actually a great trade here. You have a bunch of different rejecting candles here on this 4 hour. So it really seems to be not liking this zone. So I think because you have multiple rejections here, I think that's good confirmation. But you do have, recently this has made higher highs. Well, no, not quite right here, I guess, but it has made higher lows. This is a new low that's higher, but doesn't seem to be able to break this zone. But then you do have this little mini zone it's created right here. So it's up to you if you really want to take that trade or not. On the 4 hour, it's technically bullish. So again, a bit of a risky trade, but not a bad setup. You got lots of wicks in this area, daily wicks, 4 hour wicks. On the daily, it is bearish, so I do it could be a decent short, but there's other things you got to consider. Like from this area, price has made higher highs and higher lows, so it might be just wanting to break this area here. So I'm gonna stay neutral on this, but I do think this is a fair trade right here. And then if if it does reject this area, let's say you got in right now and then it came down back into this area here and you had to get out, then you only make a 3 to 1. but it's still better than nothing, and you know, you've just tripled your money, so it's not a bad trade. That is Cardano. Dot here. So what are we on our 7th pair? I've got a few more here. So this is bearish. It's below the moving average. There's a significant zone here, and there's a significant area here. So because it is bearish overall, I'm more inclined to sell it. So either you wait for price to come back up to this area, this 550 level, or you wait for price to break this area and then target lowers like here. I mean, you can see that it's also already creating some resistance here. So, you know, a good trade could be this, depending on how, you know, if you only wanted like a 1-to-1, you could target basically the bottom of this zone. You could probably tighten up these stops a little bit. If you were to use a stop and you wanted a good R ratio, you could do that, or you could target this bottom zone, which is probably what I would do, because I don't want a 1-to-1 trade. I think that's a waste of an entry, to be honest. So I would do something like this. I think that is very reasonable. I do think that this zone is so significant. Yes, it did have higher highs with this leg, but it does not seem to be breaking this area, and it's still below this moving average. So that's my take on .USD. Okay, XRP Ripple. So we are definitely bullish, massively bullish. This price had this huge jump here. So, and now it's trickled down a little bit. It would be good to check out what we're working with here. Yeah, so this is excellent actually. I think Ripple is a perfect buy. This is your 618 zone, which don't even need to draw the whole thing, but so price made this massive move. Now it's pulling back. It's already pulled back to its 50% zone. So this might be ripe for buying, to be honest. As soon as some more bulls come in, I mean, I would probably just move this down here. So this is your area. I do think this is a good buy. I think it's at, you know, it being at the 50% retracement is massive as far as entry wise. And then I would target this zone here, this 82-cent area. And then all I would do, guys, is wait for price to either come back into this zone and reject it, or just wait for some more bullish momentum. So if we look at so this is perfect example. So you got this 1 hour moving average and price is below it. So I'm going to set an alert here. So when price crosses over this 2 hour moving average, that tells me that the bulls are back, at least a little bit. And then there's a good chance that they will start pushing this price up. So especially if price comes down into this area again and gets rejected, then by that point, if it starts pushing up after that, it's going to be right at that moving average. Plus, you can see some 4 hour areas here. So basically, if price breaks above this area, then you're probably good to go all the way up. But your R ratio won't be as good. So either you wait for more confirmation and bullish momentum to come into the market before entering, and then you have a safer trade, and you're probably less likely to get stuck in it, holding it for a while because the momentum is there and it'll take you right to your zone. Or you wait till price comes down into this 70-cent area, or sub 70-cent area, I guess, and then buy it there, and then just wait and, you know, buy as much as you can, and then odds are it's going to push up because this is the 50% retracement area. So this is a very safe area. Clearly this is bullish, like it's way above this moving average. You have this massive candle here on, you know, mid-July. So I think Ripple is a good buy. I think it's a good buy now. I think it's a good buy if it goes below 70 cents, and then you're good to hold it all the way to 82. So Neo here. So this one is also bearish, being that it is below the 200-day moving average. If we look here, this is kind of its bottom here at the 860 level, so I'd be looking to short this. Not yet. I would want it to come back up to here, above 920, and then I would short this. However, if it did break this zone, I would target one of these lower zones. I mean, there's a little bit here though too, so it's a bit of a risky trade, but I do think it is a good short if it gets back up to this zone. So if it got back up to here and got rejected, by then it'll be much closer to this moving average as well, so I like that. It would also be close in proximity to this 4-hour moving average, which would function as resistance as well, so that's a good sign. But I would wait for price to come up to 922-ish, get rejected, and then I would enter a short position and target 747, this big bottom zone here. So that's NEO. We'll do one more. We'll do Solana. So this, this I drew earlier actually, so we'll just go over it again, but I would buy this, and if we throw this on a fib, let's see, so that did already retrace. So it retraced once. We're gonna look for a valid move here, so it would be like right here. Yeah, so it already came down to its 618 zone. This is a perfect 618 zone at $22.14. So I would buy this, and I would just wait for, I would wait for it to come down into this zone right around 22.75. I would buy it. You possibly could buy it now, but I think it's a little bit more risky, just be given that there's some wicking candles here and there just doesn't seem to be a lot of momentum, although you did have this bullish engulfing candle after this, so that is a good sign why I think like you could potentially buy it right now. But also with these massive wicks, these daily wicks through this area, anything above 28 bucks it doesn't like, so I would still wait for it to come down to here and then enter a long position back up to this zone, something like this with a good R, maybe get 4 if you stretch this a little bit, something like that. I would wait, and I think that's a really good buy. You'll have this moving average that will function as support as well. It'll catch up to price. As price comes down, this will come up and it'll meet it here, and then this is probably a good buy for the month. If you look at it on, it usually moves about $25 in a month, so that's actually quite a bit. So honestly, like, you could set, it seems pretty crazy, but like this is only a $10 move, and price does normally move $24, $25 a month, so that seems crazy to me, but the money is definitely there if you get a good entry and can hold it. And when this moves, it really moves, kind of like all other cryptocurrencies. So this is making higher highs and lower and higher lows, so definitely bullish, definitely a good buy. Buy it now, buy it at 22.78, and then hold it for at least this zone. Hold it to like 28 bucks for sure. I think it's an excellent trade. So that's Solana. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. Like, subscribe if you did. Leave me a comment if you have any questions, and I'll see you in the next one.